Yes, my name is Jürgen Strohhecker. So I'm professor for operations and cost management here at Frankfurt School of Finance and Management. And my research interests include a broad range of topics. So that's behavioral operations management, behavioral accounting, production control, and dynamic decision making. And this is probably what we're going to talk about today. So my latest research focuses on the implementation of strategies and how to mitigate the widespread strategy implementation failure. This was joint work with courses from the University of Graz and the University of Armed Forces in Munich. And we ran a laboratory experiment where we put participants in the role of managers who had to implement a long-term growth strategy. And we equipped one group with a management cockpit that showed measures and causal links between these measures. And indeed, this visualization of a strategy helped. They made better decisions and came up with a superior performance. So this research has some practical implications, for example, for software companies who could use our findings to design management information systems that allow organizing measures in a flexible way and also show causal links between these measures. Strategy design and evaluation as one phase and strategy implementation as the second phase are one of the most critical tasks of top managers. And from my perspective, from a strategic operations research perspective, these two phases are equally important. But it seems that managers and also consultants and researchers put more emphasis on designing strategies and evaluating strategies and less emphasis on the implementation. So the implementation of strategies is reported to have a relatively high failure rate. And therefore, we see that there are a lot of lost opportunities. The Balanced Scorecard is actually one of the more recent tools that can be used to support strategy implementation. The Balanced Scorecard is seen nowadays as a strategic management system that helps managers to translate their strategies into action. So the Balanced Scorecard actually puts a lot of emphasis on a variety of tools, including strategy maps that visualize the strategy, different perspective, balanced perspective, so that measures are not only assigned to financial themes, but also include, for example, an internal process perspective, a customer perspective, and a learning growth perspective. And by this, the Balanced Scorecard supports managers in making better decisions. In our research, in our laboratory experiment, we actually used the Balanced Scorecard, especially the strategy map concept, to make the strategy visible to the participants. We showed them all the strategic themes that the strategy included and the measures that were defined as appropriate items to really measure the strategy. These two elements help the participants in our experiment to understand what they had to do, to understand the way their actions were linked to the outcomes. And this indeed was something that improved their decision making and made their decisions better than the other groups that had not these instruments available. So just the measures, important information, but not the links between all these information. A strategy itself sets the boundaries, so the long-term boundaries for short-term decision making. But it does not predetermine the decisions that have to be made on an operational level. So for instance, our participants having to implement a growth strategy with a focus on a high service quality, well, this obviously meant that the level of employees had to be increased. But the precise decision, how many new employees had to be hired, that was not predetermined. They had to come up with this decision. And so I see that there is a strong decision-making component. And this decision-making component is actually something that is taking place in a dynamic environment, is something that is considering a lot of related factors. And so this exactly is what dynamic decision-making is all about. Strategy implementation is a complex issue. So we have to deal with complexity. The systems that are affected by strategy have a lot of variables, and human beings dealing with these variables really are flooded by information. That is very difficult to deal with. On the other hand, there are a lot of interrelations between these various factors, and these interrelations result in reinforcing feedbacks and balancing feedbacks, and these feedbacks are hard and difficult to understand. And humans very often misperceive these feedbacks. Moreover, there are a lot of delays between the action and, in the end, the effect. It takes a while for things to unfold, and other research has shown that human beings have really difficulties in understanding these delays. They're often misperceived, and this makes it so difficult to come up with good decisions. Obviously, from our research, it would be very important to create transparency, to make the system structure as transparent as possible. We see that including causal links in management cockpits does help. So we see that providing information on how all these various parts work together is very beneficial for decision making. And moreover, other research has shown that individual factors have an impact. Specifically, managers that follow an analytic reasoning style are better in decision making than those following an intuitive approach. And from a managerial perspective, this would mean that first of all you should select the right people to make good decisions, but also support them with the right tools. So give them the right information and show them the links between the variables that affect their decisions.